We are barreling towards a government shutdown in just a few days, and so many of you are new to this and have asked, what happens in a government shutdown? What's open and what's closed? I'm about to answer all of those questions for you in this video. Now, this is a deep dive, so pull up a chair, save it, come back to it later, or share it with somebody who has questions. First, you have to understand a government shutdown is not random. It's scheduled. And if it happens, it does not mean the U.S. government is broke. And it does not mean the U.S. government has no money. The U.S. government has plenty of money. If the government shuts down, it means Congress has failed to do the one job it has. See, the U.S. government runs on a fiscal year calendar from October 1st through September 30th. And every single year, it's Congress's job to find a way to fund the government before the fiscal year ends. That means it's Congress's job to figure out how much money each agency and department will get in their budget and figure out which priorities will and will not be funded. And if September 30th comes and there's no spending plan approved by both the House and the Senate and signed by the president, no government agencies or departments get their budget allotments, so they can't have money to operate, they have to close down, and the government shuts down. Make sense? Okay, now that you know how government shutdowns happen, let's talk about what happens when the government shuts down. In a shutdown, the federal government must stop all non-essential functions until a spending bill is passed. Each agency and department determines what work is essential and what work is not. The White House keeps a department-by-department list of shutdown plans, and I will email that out to you tonight in my Newsgirl News Roundup email, so if you want to see it, make sure you sign yourself up. So how does each department and agency decide what workers are essential and which ones are not? Well, the Anti-Deficiency Act defines essential as if it shuts down, it would imminently threaten the safety of human life or the protection of property. So any agency or federal employee whose job it is to protect the safety of human life or protection of property will stay working, and everyone else in the federal government will be furloughed. And if they are a federal employee who is considered essential, it is very likely they will have to report to work, but they will not receive a paycheck. Once the government is funded again, by law, they will receive back pay. But that could be weeks or maybe even a month, depending on how long it takes Congress to pass a spending bill. So now that we know which workers are considered essential, you can probably guess which departments stay open during a government shutdown. Active duty military members, many federal law enforcement officers, including Border Patrol, air traffic controllers, TSA officers, and employees at federally funded hospitals are usually considered essential, so they will still have to report to work and they will likely not be paid. The VA will remain open. But you know who is considered essential and still gets paid? Congress. Yes, the people responsible for the shutdown report to work and they still get a paycheck when everyone else does not. Now, here's what will close if the government shuts down. Depending on how long the shutdown lasts, national parks could close, passport processing could slow down, federal courts, including immigration courts, could start postponing or canceling hearings, and some federal government contractors may not get paid. Entitlement programs like Social Security, Disability, Medicare, Medicaid will still be processed and the post office will remain open. However, some of the federal employees who work at those places are considered non-essential. So if you're looking to get help at any of those places, or you want to process a new disability claim or Social Security claim, or if you have questions about existing benefits, getting those answers may become difficult. The last time the government shut down was for 35 days under President Trump in 2018 and 2019. At the time, that was the longest shutdown in 40 years. The standoff in Congress back then was over former President Trump's demand of almost $6 billion to fund his border wall project. The shutdown cost the American economy billions of dollars, and after 5 weeks, former President Trump ultimately signed a spending plan that did not include the funding for the wall that he wanted. So what's the political point of a shutdown then? Really? Nothing. It's just a failure of Congress. It does not hurt the lawmakers on Capitol Hill. It does not fundamentally change how the government functions. It does not make the government smaller. In the short term, it only hurts federal workers and you and me. But historically, those lawmakers who are responsible for the shutdown do eventually feel the pain when voters go to the ballot box in November.